So hi everyone. So welcome to day 3 and here is the link where you can ask doubts regarding network fundamentals. So that link you can check description or the notes I have shared. I have added the link here, ask doubts. Okay, so the second thing, now I'm going to show you how to download Packet Tracer, which is a free software by Cisco. So first you need to make an account on cisco.com, which is very simple. Just go and make it. So once you create your account, then go to another website that is NetAcad, that is Network Academy. Okay. So in Network Academy, you need to log in with your Cisco username password. So I have my email address. So I'm going to Network Academy link. I told you that I have shared the whole notes with you, right? Everything is mentioned on those notes. Just check once again in your chat. Hmm, I don't know why I'm not able to log in. Okay, just hold on. Yeah, so go to Net Academy, log in with your Cisco username password. Okay, I don't know what's the problem they have with my ID. See now, yeah. So you can see once you log in into this Network Academy, on the resources section, so you can see download Packet Tracer. Okay, so once you download this, so you can see here Windows desktop version and Linux or Mac OS. So even I can share the direct link of Packet Tracer and all from here also. But the problem with this link is that you still need to create account. Okay, so even if I'm going to add a direct link here, even I already shared this, right? But you need to create the Cisco account because in Packet Tracer nowadays you can't log in without entering your Cisco ID. Okay, so I'll show you just a quick overview of this software also. So it's asking me to log in again. I have to type the same ID which I was typing there. Okay, and the same password which you created for Cisco ID. This is a little annoying every time you have to log in into the software, but it's okay. Yeah, so my software is ready. So this is the software which is known as Cisco Packet Tracer. And if you want to do the lab, you can just create or add a lot of devices, multiple devices. Okay. And here you can create the switch. You can add a cable from here. Okay. So you can also do the same commands. You can type the commands of switch also just by clicking here, CLI. So here is the console. So from your means you can install this software into your PC, okay, and start doing basic labs. Okay. So this is overview of Packet Tracer. Okay. So let's go further, guys, and let's quickly review the OSI model which we discussed yesterday. So in application, what happens? The softwares interact one human to another. That all protocols like HTTP, HTTPS, SMTP, Telnet, POP, all the applications works under application layer. So whenever any layer is actually deciding what is the format of data, either the image is into PNG format, JPEG format, or audio in MP3 or WAV, video is in MP4 or AVI. This layer is also responsible for encryption, decryption, compression, decompression. So all comes under presentation layer. So now we have another layer, that is session layer, which actually create and maintain the session within a time frame. Like if you are opening any bank website, it takes around 10 minutes, right, to log out automatically, because that is a time frame which is actually created with the session sockets or session programming. So this session layer, just you can remember this, it's responsible for creating and maintaining the sessions. Okay. So in transport layer, we have end-to-end delivery of data where we get TCP and UDP. So TCP is a protocol where we get acknowledgements, but in UDP, we don't get the acknowledgements. So just check the second day video, the link already shared here. If you are attending this session today, so you should watch these two videos, which are yesterday and the day before yesterday video. So in network layer, all the IP addressing and the IP address is added over here. Router works on this layer, and the packet, uh, in transport layer we have segments, but segments are now converting into packet. Packet means the IP address of source and destination is added into the packet. So we have data link layer, which actually may adds or MAC address information in the packet, and that is known as frame, and switches works on this layer. And physical means your cable connections, all connectors comes under physical layer. So this is the overview of this OSI model. Okay. So guys, today we are going to do subnetting, which is very important part. Most of you were asking for it. And if you still remember classes, that class A 1 to 126, B stands for 128 to 191. And I'm not going to explain only subnetting. We are going to do small practical with the subnetting part also today. So 192 to 223. Okay. So just you need to learn subnetting with ABC. So D or E classes are actually not used with the host. Means you can't give D or E class to the computers, because D is reserved for multicasting. So what is multicasting? You can just take one example. When all routers in a network wants to communicate with each other, they are going to communicate, or they are going to share information with routing protocols. So these routing protocols are working on multicasting. So you can just take that example. So multicasting means, from multicasting they are sharing their information to each other. Okay, multicasting is like reserved IPs, and E also, that is known as like future use or something, but it is now wastage. So why I'm saying wastage? Because they thought like, once we have shortage of IP address ABC, we are going to use class E in future. But no system, like not Windows, not even Linux, not even Apple or Mac OS, not any single operating system support E class, because initially it was meant to be used in future use, but we can't use that IPs now because no software in the industry supports class E. So ideally you can say that it was reserved for future use, but now it is now a wastage. Okay, we can't use this. Clear? Just say yes in the chat. And please keep interacting in the chat. Yes, no, something, so that it will give me boost also. Else I will feel bored, right, to train. Because when I usually take my live classes, I actually ask students to raise the hand and they can speak with me. But yes, this is a public session, so it's always better to have discussion on the chat. Okay, so let's understand what is subnetting. So what is subnetting? See, class A, B, C. So in class A, we have first part is network. It means if any computer is connected to another computer, an IP address is 1.1.1, another IP is 1.1.5. So for the we need to check the first part, right? And how computer checks the first part? Because we give one thing that is known as subnet mask. So whenever you give IP, there is one extra information is added automatically that is known as subnet mask. So what is this subnet mask? It actually represents network bits. So it represents network bits. Okay. So subnet mask represents, yeah, Hemant, definitely. Okay, so this 255, it is representing that I need to match how many part? Only the first part. So class A is known as 255.0.0.0 also. So that is the by default subnet mask of class A. It is representing that only the first part is network and rest all part is host. All part host means in class A we can assign a lot many IP addresses. In B class we have two network part. So how computer understand? So when we give any IP like 172.16.1.1 and another computer is 172.16.2.3, so they are going to communicate with each other because their first two portion are matching, right? They are in same network. How? Because when we assign, the computer automatically takes 2 times 255. This happens automatically. You can try it out. So 2 times 255, it means the by default subnet mask is 255.0.0. In C, so that we have around 3 network part and 1 host part. It means we have 3255. So how many parts we need to match? So when we give any IP address to computer of class C, suppose 200.1.1.1 and 200.1.1.2. So like the first three parts, if both if both machines parts are matching up to three network, up to three octets. So it octet means one group is known as octet also because it is 8 bits. So three parts are matching, they are also able to communicate. So this means 3255.0. Yeah, I'll explain. So the IPs I have, uh, so I'll explain private and public IP later on. So just you need to understand this first. Okay. So just type yes if you understand and then we can go on. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So now, so what is subnetting? Divide a large group, divide a big network or divide a network into smaller parts. So why we are going to divide the network into smaller networks? I'm going to explain you. So first of all, class A, it has network part, one octet network part, but rest three host. So it means 8 bit, 8 bit, 8 bit, right? This is also 8. So 8 means it has a 24 host bits. 24 host bits, right? 888. So to the power of 24. So how many computers, like one class A IP range class A subnet gives 16777 That is the number to the power of 24. So if you start giving IP from 1.0.0.1, it will go up to 1.255.255.254 almost. So you can start with 0 and go up to 255. But the first IP and the last IP we don't use because of network ID and broadcast ID, that I'll explain later on. So you can just count these numbers. You can't even count these numbers manually. So it's a very big number actually. So that IPs is 167772216. The one subnet. It means one network of class A gives that much IP. So another, if I'm saying 2.0.0.0, so that is a separate one number. So that is, here we have that number also, and here also we have that number. So means these are two complete different groups. Each groups give that IPs. Okay. So in class B subnet, any subnet of class B, that gives how much IP addresses? That gives to the power of 16, that is 65,536. In class C, we have three network part and one host part. So to the power of 8 is 256. So C class networks gives 256 addresses, B class gives 65,536, and A class gives 167772216. Yeah, network bits always remain same. This I am talking about host now. I've already explained in the last slide, or what we call last, where I was drawing. So that I'm discussing now, host part. Okay, clear? Yes. Okay, good. So when I say class C, so class C gives 256 address. So it means 192.168.1. If the IP network bits are like this, so this will remain same, right? Because of network bits remain same. So it starts from 0, it will go up to 255. So 0 to 255, if you count this number, you will get 256 address. Okay. So if this class C IP is giving 256 address, and if I want to divide this into four parts or two parts, or like I want to divide this network into four parts, okay, and I want to give 40 computers here, 40 prox here, 40 here, and 40 here, or maybe 50 computers also. So we can give that also. So we want to divide this network into four parts so that we can give IP addresses to these networks. Maybe I'm creating computer labs in my college, or maybe I'm creating some ODCs in my office. So I want to give 50 computers group in all networks. So if my requirement is 50, suppose I want to give IP addresses to 50 computers, but class C is giving me 256. So if I am going to use 256 IPs in 50 computers, how much I am going to waste? I am going to wastage of 206 IPs, right? So that is happening. If I want to create 4 computer labs, either I have to use multiple networks, and we should not have multiple networks. Why? Tell me. Most of you know 192.168. If you don't know this, this network is free. You can say that it's a private IP, and private IP is free. But why we are doing subnetting in private IP? Can anybody explain me? Or you can mention in the chat. Kunal, 192.168 series is private IP series. This is the reason. So in what is private IP? These are complete free IPs. You can assign or you can use it for anywhere. So in class A, 10 IP is private. Any IP start with 10 IP, that is private and free. So 172.16.0.02, 172.31.255 means any IP start from 172.16 to 172.31, all are private IPs, and in class C we have 192.168. So any IP start with 192.168. So any IP start with 192, it's private IP. So I'm asking, if IP addresses are so free, because in class C you are getting almost every network. You can use 1.0, 2.0, 4.0. So you can use all 4 networks in these computer labs because these are free, right? So why we are doing subnetting then? Hmm. Anyone from industry? Yeah, think for 2-3 minutes. Why we are doing subnetting if private IPs are free? Saransh, private IPs are like free IPs. You need to buy all IPs, right? So you want to use any IP address, you need to register it. But private IPs are like free, you can use it for free. And how you can't access internet with private IPs. If you want to access internet, you have to use ISP or internet connection, because internet connection actually gives you public IP. So when your internet, so you can do one thing. If you have Wi-Fi router or Wi-Fi device at home, so what you can do, you can connect all your computers. You can check if all are pinging together or not. And what you can do, you can disconnect the internet cable from your router and still check if they can communicate with each other or not. So they will communicate with each other. So that is my private network. Okay, so public means routable to internet. Private IP is not routable to internet. So my question was, why we are subnetting when we can use free IPs. So I'll explain. So when you will have a router in your office, okay, and maybe you have four networks, or maybe you have different networks, right? So if this router has different network, 192.168, 1.0, 192.168, maybe 2.0, so it may be 192.168, 3.0. Okay, so if you have 192 series, that's okay, but maybe you have another 192.168, uh, 99.0, something like that. So why it's better to always do subnetting? Because when this router is going to share that information to this router, so router will have all 4 networks. So instead of sending networks information, uh, it's better to have one network only, because it is going to take less amount of space in the routing table. So what we are going to do, we are going to summarize, means instead of sending all the routes, I'm going to send something so that this router will get only one or two routes and can access anyone. So one another example, if you have very big site, you have thousands of or maybe hundreds of routers, all your company routers are connected with maybe big routers like that. Okay, so all these client offices, or maybe if you have your own branches, so all branch offices are like this. So all branch offices are going to send the information to you, and this router, okay, this router is going to have a lot of routes. So if you are sending four networks or maybe eight networks from everywhere, what will happen? It will have a very big routing table, right? It will have a very big routing table with a lot of entries. So if your routing table is very big, so it means there is a load on our router RAM. Like when we install a lot of softwares, what will happen in our computers? So they get slow down, or maybe they keep on restarting, or blue screen comes, right? So if you have a lot of many routes, what will happen? So your main routers can have a lot many routes, and can lead to either you need to buy a very premium hardware or very big router to manage these routes, or you need to short these ones. Instead of sending 4488 routes, I'm going to send only one route. So this is the purpose of subnetting. So means if router is sending 192.168.1.0 from here to another router, so router will have only one route, 192.168.1.0 in the table. But here I'm going to divide this network into four parts, and I'm going to create four computer labs. Now understand why we use subnetting. Yeah, to summarize, means instead of, see, if first learn how to divide a network. So why, before subnetting, I'm showing you why we do subnetting. Okay, so that instead of sending four routes, so tell me which is better, sending all four routes or just sending one particular single route to the another router. One is better or four is better? You must be thinking four is better maybe. No, it actually consumes a lot of RAM. One is always better, right? So just don't imagine this with two routers. Just imagine if we have 100 plus routers or maybe 1000 routers in our company. Whole, suppose if I'm working for Apple, Samsung, like these brands, they have offices almost in every country, right? And subnetting is all not only in private. Subnetting happens in public networks also. What exactly? Suppose you got a IP address. I told you you get IP address from INA RIR, that is Appnik. So you will go to Appnik website and buy a IP address. Okay. So let me show you Appnik. Okay, so let's see if Appnik gives me two IP addresses, and why you need to have public IP. Tell me. I'll give you one real example. See, I have a server where we have installed the labs. Like racks.nwkings.com, and you guys can access this website, right? So this is a URL, but on this URL has some IP like 203 181.25 like that. Okay, so this IP is my public IP, and this IP I got it from where? From my ISP. Okay, so I just bought one single IP or maybe two IPs, that is known as static IP. So this is my static IP, and static IP I have entered into my DNS so that if anybody goes to racks.com, so it will redirect to this. Okay, that is a DNS entry I need to create in my website. Okay, fine. So static IP is to access anything from internet. So static IP is a public IP. So this IP is public IP. So why everyone needs public IP? So that you can access the servers, you can access the websites. So you need public IPs. And if any big company is going to buy a IP, suppose you work for Apple. Okay, so they have a lot of servers like iTunes, from where you can stream the music, like Apple Cloud, where you can store your images and all, or maybe something else also, right? Like Apple TV and all. There are a lot of Apple servers so that the users can access this from internet. So Apple have public IPs, right? So they have a network, public pool 17 network, right? So they are going to assign these IPs to the server, you can say that, so that these users can access, put, take their selfies and upload to the Apple Cloud or something. So just take an example. Okay, or maybe you can take an example of Facebook. So everyone needs public IP to access something. Even this appnik.net, this website is also having one public IP. But if any company wants to buy IP address from a big organization like Appnik, you can't buy a single IP. If you want single one IP, two IP, you can directly contact your ISP. But if you want a very big, if you have a very big company and you want to get IP, so just click on get IP address. It will show you, you can buy minimum 256 address from Appnik. You can't go less than that. If you want 50 IPs, still you are going to contact your ISP. If you need more than 256 address, you can directly buy from Appnik. That is Asia Pacific Network Information Center. Okay, got it now? So now if you have 256 address and you have a lot of servers, maybe you have 4 servers in Delhi, you have 4 servers in Mumbai, you have 4 servers in Hyderabad. So what you are going to do? Tell me. Subnetting or not? Right? You have to divide, right? You can't use one pool at one location, right? Else you need to buy a lot of public IPs and it will cost you Australian dollars. Annual membership fee 1994. You can multiply by 50, 60, whatever is the dollar in Australia. So this is the annual membership fee, and that is a separate sign up fee. I'm just thinking about those guys, those who have not attended, still registered the session. These things are not in a book, man. Okay, got it. So now you understand why we use subnetting. So tell me, subnetting is important to learn or not? People ask me, sir, is this subnetting important? So I always say, see, everything is important if you really love to understand. See, maybe in interviews, nobody is going to ask you. But if you really want to do wonders in this network field, and if you really want to become a good engineer or maybe a network consultant, you should know about these things. Abhinav, this is not permanent time period. You can keep on paying them so that you will still maintain your membership. But yes, IPs will be with you till the time you are paying. Okay, so let's do subnetting. So we got a pool from where Appnik. Okay, so let's create a data center today. So data center is what? When we have a lot of servers and we want that people can access these servers from outside world. Any limitation on number of users for IP address? See, public IPs, even one single public IP is enough to access internet. Just imagine like if you are still a student in a university of almost 10,000 student, so tell me how many IPs they need to access the internet. They can still access the internet with one IP. How? Because these 10,000 computers will get private IPs, and all these private IPs are going to convert into one single IP. And with the help of a concept that is known as NAT, Network Address Translation. Okay. But when we are saying we have bought a pool of 256 IPs from AppNic, what exactly it means? I am talking about a company where they have a lot of servers, and from internet people or anyone can access these servers, or maybe they are uploading the videos or maybe images. Because in one just take an example, when anybody uploads the images in Facebook, so tell me, all images are going in one server or they have a data center with a lot of many servers? Lot of servers, right? So they will have a lot of servers. So they need a lot public IPs, or they can use one single IP. See, accessing internet, you can access the internet with one IP also. But if anybody wants to enter into your premises, or they want to access your servers, then you need public pools. Okay, got it? Where we need public IPs. Lot of public IPs are needed when you are actually a big company. Okay, so we got a public pool. Let's take example 200.1.1.0, and this is a class C. So we always say slash 24. What is this 24? This is known as slash value. You can say that. In A class, we have how many network part? One. So this is known as 8/8 because it represents 8 network bits. In B we have 2n. So this is the reason we say this 16. And in C we have 3 network part, and this 888 is 24. So this is the reason I have written here 24. Now I want to divide this network into 4 parts for my Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai and Kolkata location. Shehzad, keep your camera off. Okay. So I want to divide this network into 4 so that I can use to my 4 locations: Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, maybe. Okay. Yeah, Rahul, correct. So how I'm going to divide this network? So it's very simple. So your IP address is of how many bits? 32 bits, right? So what I'm going to write here in my, I have network bits and then I have host bits. So I have total 24 network bits and host bits 8, right? So by default, how many IPs we are getting? 2 to the power of 8 is 256 IPs I am getting right now. With one, this network is giving me 256 IPs. How I have calculated? My total IP address is of 32 bit. If class is 24, the remaining 8, 24 plus 8 is 32, right? Yes or no? So the to the power of 8 is 256. So it means I am getting 256 address from one single, from this pool. But what exactly we are going to do? We want to give 50 to 60 IPs, or maybe we want to divide this network into 4 parts so that we can give this one network, we can divide this into 4 parts so that we can give this to multiple locations. Okay. So I have 8 host part. So tell me how many networks we want to create? 2 or 4? How many networks? 4, right? Darshan, you are in the class or not? Yeah, so we want 4 networks. Means we want to divide this network into 4 locations. So tell me how we get 4 when we have 2 to the power of 2, right? How, when we get 4 when we have 2 to the power of 2, right? So it means we will add 2 here. It means we will have 26 here. Okay, very simple. And from where we will get this 2? When we will reduce 2 here. It means 6 host bits. So when we want to divide this network into 4 parts, my network bits will be 26 now instead of 24, and I have reduced 2 here. Why I have reduced this? Because we need to balance it every time. I need total 32 here. 26 plus 36 also 32. I need to maintain this 32. So you can shuffle the numbers from here and there. I'll explain again. How many network bits we have by default in class C? Tell me. 24 and host bits 8. How many networks we want? 4 networks. So how I get 4? 2 to the power of 2. So just check the power. So this is the power. So I'm going to add this 2 here. So because I want to increase my network bits. So that is 26 now. And I need to reduce that 2 number from here because I'm going to change this host bits into network part. So this is the reason I'm reducing 2 here. So I'm getting 6 here. So it means I'm going to have slash 26 and 2 the power of 6 is 64. So it means we will have around 64 IPs in every group. And what would be the network? The network would be slash 26. Simple or not? Right? Let's take one another example. If I want to divide this network into 8 parts instead of 4 locations, I have 8 locations. Instead of 4, we have 8 now. So again, by default 24, we have 8 here. So how we get 8? When we have 2 the power of 3. So I'm going to add 3 here, 27, and I'm going to reduce 3 here. That comes 5. So 2 the power of 5 is 32. So it means we will have 4 8 groups, and every group is of 32 IPs. Yes, yes, Sadil. Okay. So now the question is how I am going to write these IP addresses. Okay, so we were making 4 locations. So let's go back again with the 4 question. So again 24, I have 8 by default. So to get 4, my to the power of 2. So I am going to add 2 here, 26, and I need to reduce here, that is 6, right? So what is, so when we are going to assign the IP, the first location, suppose Delhi, so IP address would be 200.1.1.0. Okay, so how you calculate your 4 locations? There is a simple maths. So IP address always start with 0, okay, and it always ends with 255. Deepak, if you have 7 locations, obviously you need to divide the network into 8. You can't divide in 7 or like that. So that also in the increments of 2, either you can divide into 2 or maybe 4 or maybe 8. So if you have 7 location, you can divide this into 8 parts, and you can save one few IPs for future use. So it's like yeah. So 26. So to the power of 6 is 64. So how I'm going to write this 64? So just add zeros in the starting. 0 plus 64, 64. So again plus 64 plus 64, 128. 128 plus 64, 192. So before 192 we get 191. Before 128 we have 127. And before 64 we get 63. So this is how, so the IP address from 0 to 63 will be placed in Delhi. So here we are going to assign in Mumbai. Here this IP we are going to assign in Chennai. And here this network I'm going to assign in Kolkata. Got it? Very simple. Now, yeah. So now how I'm going to assign IP addresses in Delhi? So when we are going to assign IP addresses in Delhi office, or maybe the servers in Delhi, what, how I'm going to give the IP address in computer? How we write this 26 in computer? Because 24 is very easy. We can write 255.255.255.0. So this is 24. But how I'm going to write 26? I'm going to show you. You have written down all this. Can I move ahead? Can I remove this? Okay. Yeah. See, understand subnet mask. So by default, we get subnet mask 255.0.0.0. If your slash value is 9, how you are going to add here? So again, that thing comes with the to the powers. So your one network will be represented with the powers. So you have every block is like this. So this block also, this block also, this block also. So in the first block, if you have 8, so it means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So this is first portion, and you get 255. Right? So 8, right? 255. So when we have 9, so what we have, so in the first group we have 8 plus 9, so again 1. So rest all zeros. Right? So 255, and here above 1 we get to 128. So that means 128. So it means we will have 255.128.0. So when we say 10, what will happen? So when we are going to solve for 10, so that means 8, this covers 8, and here we need to add 1 here. So this is 255, and just plus these two values on top of a 12864, that comes 192. So in here we are going to get 255.192.0.0. So I'll give a very simple formula. You don't have to calculate every time. So whenever anything, when we add one bit, you always add 128. When we get two, 192. So when we have three network, three ones, we always get 224. For 4 bits, we get 240. So for 5 bits, we get 248. For 6 bits, we get always 252. For 7, we get 254. And for 8, always we get 255. Just write this and you will understand subnet mask. Now, if I'm calculating for slash 14, what you will do, 8 plus 6 is 14, right? And you know always 8 means 255 and 6 means 252.0.0. Let's slash 19. How you calculate 19? 8 plus 8, 16, 16 plus 3. So 255, 255, and 3 means 224.0. Just write this one. So what was the value we got in last question? Slash 26. So 8 plus 8 plus 8, 24 plus 2. So that means 3255. And for 2, we get 192. So in our last question, all computers in my Delhi location will have this subnet mask. Okay, cool. Hmm. So you can solve this for B also, A also, like that. Okay. So guys, let's take 5 minutes break. Okay, and I'll come back. Okay, hi. So guys, we are going to do one practical now. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect one router with one network. Okay, maybe I have one or two PC here. Okay, and here also I have another PC. So if my computer IP address is 192.168.1.1 or maybe 1.11, and here I have 192.168.2.11. So tell me if they are able to communicate if I have cable like that. Just forget we have router. So tell me if they are able to communicate. No, right? So we need a device which actually connects two different network, and that device is known as router. So we are going to connect a cable with this router, and when we add a cable in this device, so we need to give IP address here also. So we can give the same IP address where we have this network 192.168.1.1. I am going to give here, and here in another link, this is a separate link in router. Here I have to give 192.168.2.1. So it means a router will have two IP address, So this is the work of routers to connect different networks. To connect different networks, we use this device. Okay, and computer will have subnet mask by default 255.255.0, and computer always have a default gateway. What is gateway? Exit point of LAN is known as gateway. So I'm going to assign 1.1. So that is my router IP, because if computer wants to go outside the network, they are going to use this is gateway for that LAN network. Means when you, this is your home or something, right? So suppose, and you want to go outside, so you always use the gate, right? So that you can exit and you can enter from this gate. So it's like that. So router IP address is like working as a gateway for you. So this is my gateway, because to connect with the different network, I'm going to use the router IP as my gateway. Okay, so somebody asked me, like, so what is the difference between gateway and router? So router is a device that is hardware, and router can have multiple gateways for each LAN. So this device will have this IP address as a gateway, and for this computer, this IP address will work as a gateway. Just exit point of the LAN, exit point of the LAN is known as gateway. Okay. So let's go and create a lab. So I'm going inside racks with 8086. Hmm. So I'm going to create a lab. So I'll name it router lab. Okay. So here I'm going to add a device. Let's take this device. So this will work as, so I have router. So I have two switches and I have two machines. So the same lab you can do in your lab access like this. Okay. So, okay. So this is the lab. So I'm going to start this router. And before doing this, I'm going to type here the IP address I'm going to use 192.168.1.1. Here I'm going to use 192.168.1.1. And at the below machine, I'm going to assign 192.168.1.11. On the another side of router, I'm going to use 192.168.2.1, and here I'm going to have another IP, that is 192.168.2.2. Okay, so from more action, start all devices. Okay, so my all devices are up. Okay, so I'll open this router. Okay, so this is my router. So I'll always say no in the configuration. Okay, so we will assign two IP address and you can see there FA01. So what is this? I'll show you. So once you log in into your router, you are into by default which mode? User mode. And which what is the command to enter further mode? Enable. So once we are, so this mode is known as privilege mode and this mode is user mode. Okay. So so router, when you this see this prompt, this is known as user mode. And when you see this prompt, this is privilege mode. And when you see a bracket on top of this router, so this we call global configuration mode. Okay, clear? So I'm going to create a lab here so that you can do this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to type the commands over here so that you can write the command. So first of all, I need to enable the device. Then I have to go configure terminal. So this is the command to go into my global configuration mode. Configure terminal. Okay, so now you are into global configuration mode. So after that, if I want to change the device name, so what is the command? Host name. So my router name is router, so I can name it NW Kings or something. So I will write host name NW King. So you can see you don't have to commit anything directly. The things are changing here. Okay. So in advanced routers or maybe if you work in Cisco ASR or big series or even in Juniper and all, so you need to save the things uh, to enable the changes. But in Cisco normal devices, whenever you do any change, it will not ask for to save the configuration to do the changes. So whenever you type any command, it automatically changes. Means I have given a command host name nwkings and you can see the prompt here nwkings, right? So now I want to give IP address to this router. So this is the interface. What is this? This is the interface. So I will type interface. Router ports are known as interface. Interface FA0/1. So you can see FA01. So I will type interface FA01. Harshika, that's in Cisco. It's like that only. This is the reason we love Junos. Okay. So interface FA01, IP address 192.168.1.1 and with subnet mask. Just check here guys. I'm giving IP address and then subnet mask. Just click enter and you need to give a command no shutdown here. So why we are giving this no shutdown command? So that we are going to enable this port. Okay, this is like enable, disable your port. No shutdown is a command to enable the device port. So IP address 192.168.1.1, 255.255.0, no shutdown. Okay. So tell me what would be the command for next giving IP address to another interface that is FA00. Just type in the chat. Hmm. Yes, correct. I need to go inside again. Interface FA00. Okay, IP address 192.168.2.1, 3 times 255, and again no shutdown, right? So the same way you are going to give the command interface FA00, and I'm going to type 192.168.2.1 and click on no shutdown, and your IP. So you can see some messages here. You can see here change state to up. So it means the interfaces are up now. And how to check my interfaces are up or not? You need to go back into privilege mode. So how to go back directly to privilege level? You can just type end, END, or you can give exit 2 times. I'm giving end. So directly I'm into privilege mode. So now I'm going to type show IP interface brief. This is the command to check if I have given the correct IP addresses or not. So tell me if I have given the correct IP addresses. Okay, so router makes a table that is known as routing table. What is the command to check routing table? Show IP route. So there you can see a lot of codes that is for different protocols like EIGRP, OSPF, RIP and all. But as of now, we are not connecting multiple routers. We are working on one router, and both the networks are connected to my router, and it is showing you my 192.168.1.0. But I have given IP 192.168.1.1. But why this is showing me 1.0? Because router only saves network IDs. So what are network IDs? So network ID is like house of IPs. Like, see, I have one computer, maybe you have 100 computers. So router would not save 100 computer IPs in its routing table. It only saves the house of IP address. Or you can say that network ID in networking terminology. Network ID means all IP belongs to this network. Because when we will have another router, okay, when we will have another router here. Yeah, so when router is going to connect with another device further, so router is going to share not 100 computers IP address. Instead of sharing, it is going to share only this network to this router, and router will have 192.168.1.0. And we have another network. Maybe you have one IP, or maybe you have 100 IPs or 100 computers here. So router is going to send 192.168 in 2.0. So instead of sending all host IP addresses, I'm going to send my network IDs. So these are known as network IDs. So that means house of IPs. So that term you can't use it. This is just for your understanding. But in interviews or somewhere, you can always say network IDs. Why we using default subnetting? Because this is the first practical of a router, and I don't want a confusion, right? So that you will get confused. So let's go and give the IP addresses to computer, right? So very easy. Just open the computers in your lab. So somebody was asking me what is the password. I have given the information. Windows test 123, test 123, but the first T is in uppercase. Okay, test 123. So in my first computer, I need to go under ncpa.cpl, and here I need to give in properties what would be the IP address 192.168.1.11, and my subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, and gateway would be router IP 192.168.1.1. So once I assign this IP, what is the best thing? Bus ping 192.168.1.1. So you can see a ping from router now. So you are pinging your gateway. This IP I have given to my gateway. So in another PC, ncpa.cpl, inside my, so what would be the IP? 192.168.2.11, right? So IP address would be 192.168.2.1. So so let's test the connectivity from PC2 to PC3. So what would be the IP address of PC2? 192.168.2.11, right? So let's see. So here we go. You can see we have connected two different networks, guys. How much IP we can assign to router? It's better to always have IPs when you have multiple interfaces. So it depends on the router model. So we have very big routers where we can get around 100 plus ports also. So it depends actually. The practical is successfully completed. We are able to communicate from PC2 to PC3. So again, I have shown you that I am pinging to 2.11. So, but my computer IP is 192.168.1.11. And you can ping 2.11. Yes, I'm able to ping this. Okay, cool. How to check the, okay. How to check the assigned PC IP from router. Okay, so I'll explain tomorrow this ARP. Okay, so tomorrow is very important class to understand ARP. I'm going to explain the packet flow. Okay, so tomorrow is very important. So I'm going to explain ARP, packet flow, and we will see what is, we will configure DHCP on this device, and we will also configure telnet. So tomorrow topics will be ARP, packet flow, DHCP, and telnet. Okay. And guys, are you really loving these classes? Is this a good initiative from networkings or from my side? What do you think? Because I'm little worried that almost 350 plus candidates registered, and only 70 to 60, or maybe sometimes some guys come. Yeah, so some are coming or going. I don't know what is happening. Maybe this is okay. Okay, so because I thought if students won't come, then it's better to have like 3 sessions, but you guys are giving me boost, and I'll have another session tomorrow, and we will try to complete those 5 days as committed. Kunal, so what do Kunal is asking, sir, we can have 100 interfaces on router. Yes, it depends on the model number. This router may have around 4 ports or maybe 8 ports. Okay. So it depends on the model number. You can always check Cisco or Juniper or any company name. So let me show you Cisco routers. So just go and check the cisco.com, and there are multiple. So you can see a branch routers that is ISR 4000 series. So if I go on ISR 4000 series, so you can see, so every device have a data sheets. If you want to learn about the device information, because if you complete CCNA, CCNP or anything, or maybe JNCIA, different certifications, most of the most of the interviews you are going to attend, they might ask you on which devices you have worked on. So you should have a basic understanding about the devices and how to get those basic understanding. So just keep on checking the data sheets. So how to check the data sheets? So on every device, you can just search for the data sheets. Maybe inside this. Yeah, see products. Yeah, so you can see a lot of model numbers here. Okay, and they are doing, so you can check the model number like Cisco 4000 data sheet. Okay, so that is a data sheet, and you can check Cisco 4000 series as that many model numbers, and they can support these many technologies. Okay, so they also support the Cisco latest technology, that is Cisco DNA, digital network architecture. And how much throughput means how much maximum speed you will get on these devices, up to 2 Gbps. And if you have, yeah, current software services at speed up to 2 Gbps. Okay, so it has integrated SD-WAN solution also. SD-WAN is a very new technology, recently introduced in last 1 or 2 years, getting very much popular, and most of the companies are moving to SD-WAN. AWS technology, discrete network industry. No, Lokesh, it's just a, see, what is the, so let's discuss about the career path now. So what should you like, how we can start, or how should you go and further? Yeah, so to become a good engineer, so the basic, the minimum things I'm telling you. So you can start with CCNA, okay, and or maybe you can start with the JNCIA also, okay, but it's always go better to go with CCNA, because it has the Cisco study or Cisco books or Cisco content is better, I would say. Even worked for both the organizations. So CCNA, you can start. You can learn Juniper things after CCNA. So it's better to go CCNA first. So CCNA JNCI is both equivalent. Okay. So I'll write here CCNA only. So you can start with CCNA, and further you can go for CCNP. So that will actually add on a lot of technologies like BGP. You will learn MPLS. So you will learn advanced things like DMVPN. You will learn IPsec. So there are a lot of technologies here you will understand in CCNP. And after that, see, every company I have seen on Naukri.com, I have seen on LinkedIn, every company needs firewall nowadays. So it's better to learn firewalls. So I only recommend these three things to any engineer, because you will not restrict yourself. So I'm giving you one example. Uh, Trust me, this is very important. So suppose I worked for Cisco TAC for almost 3 years. So I'm very good in Cisco, but outside Cisco, I don't know anything. So if I'm looking for a job, I can only go in a TAC profile. I cannot go into enterprise, right? So it's better to always learn multiple technologies so that you will be ready. Yeah, you will get only support jobs or tag jobs, so it's better to have CCNP firewalls. Okay, and once you learn this, Then go with the little bit programming stuff, that is like Python for network engineering. You don't have to learn Python, which is actually making websites. You just need to learn Python, which is for network engineers. Which firewalls to learn? So there are many firewalls like Palo Alto. Palo Alto is very important nowadays because every company is using Palo Alto. I'm just giving example. So I used to work with Apple and they have Palo Alto firewalls. So they have Juniper SRX firewalls also, but they have replaced Juniper to Palo Alto now. Okay. So once you complete this, I think it will take maximum 1 year and you will be having the same knowledge what 10 years experience guys have in industry. So if you have Pix firewall is obsolete. Yeah, so if you have 1 year, 2 year, 3 year experience, trust me, if you learn these four things, you will be ready like you have 10 years experience, because even 10 years experience guys have up to this type of knowledge. But you need to make sure that you will learn in a very good manner. You will not only do these courses just for the sake of completion. Yeah, okay. So firewalls like Palo Alto, Checkpoint, and there is one device called F5 load balancer. So like that you can go for this, and once you complete this, then you can go with the cloud technologies. So I would recommend fifth point, VMware VCP. That is for to understand the virtualization. So it's optional. This is optional if you want to learn, because if you learn this, you will understand virtualization. And every, why I'm telling you this, because for one reason, because all cloud works on virtualization. So if you understand virtualization concepts very deep, then you go for AWS or maybe Azure. Okay, so any cloud. And then seventh point, take or you can note down my things what I'm telling you. This is the future. So that is AWS Azure cloud migration. Cloud migration means companies who are actually moving to cloud. You are going to configure in this course, you will configure router, you will configure firewalls, but you will be going to configure in cloud. Here you are learning what exactly is the cloud, right? You will learn how AWS works, how Azure works. But in AWS Azure cloud migration, you will configure routers, firewalls, and a lot of other devices in a cloud. Okay. So VCP is optional, SD-WAN also optional. So if you want a little more boost, you can go for like SD-WAN before. Like that is SD-WAN you can learn here, or you can go for like this. Amar, VMware network NSX is not required because VCP or something. If you learn this, so automatically you can say that you are getting that type of knowledge. So this is, see this, you are learning firewalls here, man. So directly you are going to network security, means you are a net, you will be a network ninja. Okay. So you can be a network consultant for many companies. You can do freelancing also. Okay. What does freelancing means? Means you can take projects from lot of websites are there like Upwork and all. So, but yes, it's better to get freelancing projects, but never use your company laptops. Okay. I have seen many guys got, yeah. So if you want to learn Azure, then there is no use of directly learning Azure. So it's better to always learn network fundamentals. And what is the best way to learn Azure? Because Azure is Microsoft oriented. So there is a course named as MCSA. So you can directly go with MCSA and Azure also if you want to become a system engineer. So this career guidance I'm giving for Network Ninja. Okay, and maybe after 6 months I will do some changes, but for next at least for 5 6 years, this is the best thing. So you can start with NA. See, if you don't have job right now, you are jobless. So we made a plan that is known as CCNA, MCSA, Linux. So that is a very basic, like to become a network engineer, to become a system engineer, to become a Linux administrator. So it's a combo. We call this phase one in networkings. So if you don't have job, directly go with this plan, because if you learn only CCNA or you will do CCNP, actually you are learning a lot many advanced courses. But if you don't have job, it's better to learn the associate level courses so that you will at least find the correct job for yourself. Okay, if you are a fresher, so by learning this CCNA MCSA Linux, you can apply for network engineer, system engineer, or Linux engineer. So that is the best course in the market right now to get into IT right now. Yeah, so you can contact team, or I'll share the link with you later on. Linux takes approx 20 days. We cover this courses in 45 to 50 hours. So you can check this website. Okay. So we have made our website with the career guidance also, like go to nwkings.com. So here you can see all the career guidance by default. Okay, so this we design for working professionals and for freshers also. Okay, so choose your career. So we are actually training students on four different technologies or four profiles: network, system, security, and cloud. So if you want to become a cyber security engineer, so phase one is default for all. But if you are already working, like if you have 2 years, 3 years, 4 years experience, then you don't have to learn MCSA Linux. You can directly jump to CCNA and CCNP. But if you don't have job, then go and start with phase one program. So which is a combo of CCNA, MCSA Linux. So these courses are actually designed by all like engineers. So we are a company which actually all our instructors are working professionals. So like the person who is taking MCSA or maybe the person who is taking Linux, they are actually working as a Linux administrator or maybe system engineer. Okay. Preeti, I would recommend you to go with CCNP first, then learn Palo Alto, PCNSC. Because Palo Alto, because you are see, security is like add-on. Suppose what I'm trying to say, you need to learn the basic first. It's like a pizza, right? So like if you want to eat a pizza, you need to have a good base, right? Then you can add all add-ons like cheese or maybe olives, anything. So these olives or maybe mushrooms or anything, I'm getting hungry for okay, so these all are add-ons. So add-ons means like you will learn like Palo Alto is add-on. Okay, like Checkpoint is add-on. But what is the base? So base is for a fresher. Like base is to learn multiple things so that you will get entry in job. So base could be like this, or base could be like CCNA, CCNP. Okay. So either you can make a base from this. This is white bread. This is brown bread. So you can use any of the base. So once you get entry, you can keep adding the add-ons like Palo Alto, Checkpoint, SD-WAN, or like any further technologies like VMware, Python. So all these are add-ons. But if you just keep learning the add-ons, but if you don't have good base, then what you are eating? You are just eating the vegetables, man. You are not eating a pizza. I hope you are getting now and you are understanding the things. Okay. Yeah, Binav, you can go with the CCNP. See, Preeti, don't stop learning PCNSC. You can start with NP because it will help you to understand BGP MPLS in detail. Our certification is important in industry, and what is a global certification? Yes, actually, certification help you to boost your career. Certification is like a booster. You have played a game called Need for Speed, right? Maybe, or you have seen it. So you are doing a car race, but sometime you want to just enable the nitrogen to boost your career, right? So certifications are like that. It's like boosters. Okay. So it's like boosters. So by learning new things daily, you are actually growing, right? You are growing. But if you have very good knowledge, but still you are not growing, then just add the booster. Boom. Then you will get more jump. Okay. It means first focus on growing, means focus on growing. How you get keep growing in the industry? You by learning new things, by learning. So certification is needed when actually you have enough knowledge. Are you getting now? When when you have enough knowledge to boost, suppose you don't have knowledge and you just get the certification done. You don't have knowledge, you get do the certification, you will be like this, completely plain. But if you have good knowledge, then you will be like this, and booster is like that. Okay. So means knowledge plus certification is good to go, but if you don't focus on learning, just keep doing certification, then there is no use. This is just a paper. Learning plus certification. Sir, can a fresher enter in industry with only CCNA knowledge? Yes, but as I told you, if you don't have job and you only do CCNA, so you can only apply the jobs related to CCNA like network engineer. And might be a chance you will not find it in 1 month or 2 months. Maybe it will take time, but yes, within 3 to 6 months, or maybe it's your luck, maybe after a month also. It depends on your learning and how you give the interviews. So many guys do CCN and get the job. Okay. But if you really want to, if you are needy, or you really want job as soon as possible, then again I told you, then you need to learn multiple technologies like CCNA. MCSA will train you Windows servers, Linux will train you for Linux commands and all. So for freshers I recommend this, because I know from fresher point of view, our main focus is to get a job first. So once we will have around 3 to 5 lakhs, or 3 to 4, 5, 6 lakhs package, or let's take 3 to 5. Okay, then it's good to go with the different things. Sir, can fresher get 3 to 4 lakh package? Man, it depends again from where you have done your studies. I have seen freshers are getting 9 to 10 lakhs even. Sharma ji, you ask a lot many questions. I have given everything. How? So how you need to just keep sitting at home, don't do anything, just watch movies, you will get job. You already know the answer, asking me how. So I don't get the commands in my mind. You need to practice, Kunal, more. Yes, Kunal, CCNA MCSA Linux would be better to go before doing Azure. Okay, guys, so I'm closing for the day and let's have another session tomorrow. Thanks.